Hello everybody. Today we're going to make these cute little what I call snowflower earrings, and I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but it's made with a 14mm rivolis that we got in the Fairy Frost collection, Eureka's, and it's got that, like, it's called patina, and it's got some pretty colors going on. It's got like a light rainbow effect, but it's also got that patina, which looks like an old vintage mirror that where the silver's rubbing off, but prettier. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, here's what it looks like. And let's go ahead and get a materials list going. So as I mentioned, I got a 14mm Swarovski rivolis, and I've got a stainless steel air wire. I've got some 15-0 Toho galvanized aluminum, and I've got some Super Duos, Czech Super Duos, and purple suede. And then I've got some 11-0 seed beads. I've got some 4mm Czech Pearls. I got some 2mm Czech Pearls. I've got some delica, like a white gilt lined, I believe. I've got a beading needle, which I've got a size 10, and I don't know, about an arm span or so of fire line with a stop bead, about 6 inches from the bottom. And I've went ahead and strung on 36 delicas, and we'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Well, I'm not sure if it's 34 or 36 delicas. So get the rest of your materials together, come back, and I'll let you know when we get back, and we'll get started. Yes, it's 34 delicas, and make sure we have to have an even number because we're going to be doing peyote. So I'm just going to sew them into a circle by going up through the last few beads from the stop bead. See, and we have our circle. And then I'm just going to go ahead around the rest of the way to reinforce. And we'll go ahead and go a couple past the tail thread and get ready to put on our, let me make sure I didn't grab the tail thread. Did I? No. Alright, so make sure you don't want to pull them too tight to where they're all bunched up. And so there we are. So let's pick up one. We're coming out one, skip over one, and needle through the next delica. And pull, and that sits that right alongside the delica that we skipped over. It sits that one right alongside to where it looks like a T. And pick up another one. Coming out of this delica, skip one, go through the next delica, and it sits that one right beside. Pick up one, it's coming out of here, skipping one, and going through the next delica. Pick up one, skip one, go through the next delica. Okay, finish going all the way around. I'll come back before we step up and do that together. Okay, we've got one more delica to put on in this row, so we pick up one. We're coming out one, we're going to skip one, and then we're going to go through the next. And then the one right above it. And that'll step us up into that next row. Let's see. We're jumping up into the first one we picked up and put on in the next row. So now we're all set to start filling in the gaps here. Pick up one, and I'm just going to come through that next delica, that sticking out delica. Pick up another, and go through that next sticking out delica. Pick up one, go through the next sticking out delica. One more, and go through that sticking out delica. Alright, so let's just go around, and I'll meet you back here, and we'll put on the last one of this row and start the next row. Okay, we got one more bead to fill in this row, and then we're going to step up. So pick up one. Alright, so we jump up into the next, not the top bead. You got to be careful, because when you're making these puzzles and doing peyote stitch, sometimes it's, your first instinct could be jump up into this one that's sticking out a little. But you got to be aware when you come down to the end, and you got to go through that second row, that bead, and then jump up into that top, the one on top of it, that next row, and that's called stepping up. And now you're ready for this next row. So go around filling in the gaps, filling in, going from one delica to the next sticking up delica. Come back. We got, I think, one more row of delicas to put on. Or this is our last row of delicas to put on. But come back and we'll do the same thing we've been doing. Okay. Pick up one, and I'm going to just do this again. This is our last one we're putting on. So we're going to jump over into our last bead and up through the first bead of the next row. Alright, now let's see what we got here. Let's put our rivoli in. It's coming along nicely. See how that fits in there. And after we sew the back with 15-0s, that back will be more secure. But what I like, well, by the time we sew it down with the 15-0s, it'll stretch us around, and it'll come in you know, closer on the inside, but I like to normally show as much of the rivoli as possible. So let's go ahead and pick up, let's see, do I want to leave that in there while I pick up my 15-0s? Yeah, I normally like to do that. Okay, so let's, sorry, my mat just moves all over. My desk got paint and stuff over it. It looks bad. So let's pick up a 15-0 and just sew through. Every sticking up delica. 15-0. And kind of pull in, tug a little bit, so it kind of clings to the side of your rivoli. Pick up a 15-0. Get down. You can't get up there. No. Pick up a 15-0. Go through the next sticking up. Delica. It might be easier just to take rivoli off for right now. But make sure when you kind of use your finger to pull against it. Get your beads tight like it's a rivoli. Like pull up against it like that. Pick up another 15-0 and just continue to fill in the blanks there from every sticking up delica, going through every sticking up delica, putting a 15-0 in between. All right, so finish that, come back, and we'll move to the back. Okay, here we go. And you know, I'm sure we figured out how to come through the last one and jump up and step up, I mean. So that's what happens when you pull it down tight. It just fits, it just conforms around that pretty little stone and looks so good. But let's go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and work our way around the back. So let's go through the next delica in between the two 15-0s and pull down tight. And then let's kind of work our way down on a diagonal to the back. We're working our way back to the back. So we'll go over to that. We're just trying to hide our thread path, you know, on the way there. And then we'll jump over into this and this one. Doesn't matter exactly which ones you go through, as long as you can hide your thread in between the beads. Okay, and we're going to do the exact same thing back here. Is putting on 15-0s in between every sticking up delica. One. Okay, so just go through every sticking up delica, putting 15 O's in between, and come back when you're finished with that. Okay, now to tighten it up, tighten it down, see how it kind of sticks up. We want to, we've stepped up, you know, we've come through, and we stepped up through silver 15-0. Now we just want to sew through every 15-0 and only 15 O's. And that'll draw them in and down tighter. See how that's drawing them down? And this is, we're still working on the back. So just go through all the 15 O's and pull. And that'll hold your stone in there nice and secure. So we don't have to worry about it slipping out. See already the difference? This is laying down flat and this side's sticking up. I don't know if you can see that. But, so go all the way around sewing through just the 15 O's. Come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, make sure you sew through all of the silver beads on the back at least once. I came through a few more just to make sure, you know, kind of locking them in, but it wouldn't hurt to even go through them all twice. But you're coming through, we're coming out one of the 15 O's. And so we want to work our way come down through one of the delicas, and then up through the opposite way. We just want to lock them in and make sure they stay tight. Then we'll come back down through that last delica we went through before this, the ones that are in the T formation. Okay, and then I'm going to go back up through the one on the right, and that should keep those locked in tight for us while we work. And then we're looking for the delicas that are not the T's, but the one right underneath or above, the ones in the center. And that's exactly where I'm coming out of. Okay, we've got basically a diamond shape here. We're going to be working in this diamond shape. We're going to be going from the bottom of the T to the top of the T. You know, I can't explain it, but the beads, I don't even know if you can see that good on this camera, but it's the ones in the center. It's like a dash. You got a couple going this way, and then there's one, and then a couple, and then one. We're going to be working on the ones. Okay. And what we're going to be doing is just picking up a super duo and going through that next. Well, we're stitching the ditch, if that might explain it for a lot of you. We're stitching the ditch. And we're putting this super duo right in the ditch. Every ditch. Believe it or not, they do fit. So you pick up a super duo and you just go through that next one. Super duo, or delica in the ditch. You pick up a super duo. And you know, it's hard to get these completely straight, so your ditch might have moved over to the right or the left a little bit. You might have to look for it. But it's there. It's definitely there. And go through the next delica. Pick up a super duo and go through that next delica. So go all the way around, and I'll come back and do the next, do the last bead of this row with you. All right. Okay. Let's pick up our last super duo and make our last stitch in the ditch. That last center bead, and doesn't matter if your super duos are all wonky, they'll be pulled in line. They want to jump up through that bottom hole of that next super duo. Step up, and then we're going to step up to the top hole of that super duo. Okay, and that means we're just reversing direction, is all. So let's pick up a 4mm bead. I'm using a Czech Pearl. And I'm jumping right across into that next top hole of that next super duo. And fitting that bead right in there between those two super duos at the top. Between the top holes of those super duos. And then I'm going to pick up a Czech Pearl, Czech 2mm pearl. You can use an 11-0 for this also. Same, they're like almost exact same size. And I'm going to jump up into that top hole of that next super duo. And lay that pearl right in there. And pick up a 4mm. Same thing, jump into the next hole of the next super duo. And then the 2mm. The holes in these 2mm are tiny. And jump up in that next super duo. And that's all we're doing is just going back and forth between 4mm and 2mm and laying them in between the two top holes of the super duos all around the edge of your component. And kitty got snoring. And I just put in a 4mm. So now I'm going to pick up a 2mm and lay those in. So go all around doing this. And come back and we'll do the next step. Okay. I forgot to tell you, your last two beads will be the 2mm. And that's going to be at the top. We're going to put a pearl in between those two 2mm beads. But for now, we're coming out the top hole with this. The super duo, we're going to jump down into the bottom hole. So we're going to fill in the gaps in the bottom holes now. And we're going to start with we're going to take a 11-0, whatever color. This is like blush. And we're going to go through the bottom hole of that next super duo. And lay that 11-0 right real tight. And then we're going to take another 11-0 and come through the bottom hole of the next super duo. And I found it easier to kind of go diagonal like that. And then come back through. See, it's in between I came through this super duo. So I'm just coming back through to the front in an open spot. And now I'm going to put on a 2mm pearl. And I'm going to go through and a diagonal. That way I can get through easier. And then I'm going to come through, back through the empty space, so I can, because we're laying these beads on in the front, you know, on the front of the component. They're kind of in the front. We don't want them on the back. That's why I'm coming back through an empty space. Now 11-0, and come through that next bottom hole, that next super duo, and then come back to the front side. So you can put on your next 2mm pearl and jump through that next bottom hole, that next super duo. See, we're just laying them right on top. Come back to the front side. Now 11 seed bead. Come through the next bottom hole. This time I came out the front. That works. Then a 2mm. And then an 11-0. And go through the bottom hole of that next super duo. Sometimes it's a little difficult till you find your angle. And I'm going to come back to the front side. And I'm going to put on a 2mm pearl. And then I'm going to put it on 11-0. So continue going around the rest of the way and doing just that. Come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, so we've come around and we've come through the last bottom hole of the last super duo, and then come through that next 11-0, and then the next bottom hole, the next super duo. And a little tight. Okay. And then I'm going to come through, back through the front. And then I'm going to come up through the top hole of that same super duo. Wait a minute. No, I'm not. Because I need to be coming the opposite way through one of these little 2mm. Oh, great. Let's see if I can get through the string. If not, I'll just have to work my way around. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to come through this 2mm and because I need to be coming in on the inside of that 2mm. So I'm going to go through, and I made a little boo-boo. Well, just a little accident. Happy accident. Because we can always fix it. Come through the next top hole, super duo. We're going to tie a half-hitch knot here so we can turn around. Just go into the thread bridge, pull up a loop, needle through the loop, and pull down. and then go back through the top hole of that super duo we just came out of, and through that 2mm pearl. Okay, and then let's pick up our 4mm pearl. We're going to put at the top in between these two, and then go through the 2mm pearl. Here we are. All right, so we want to be coming out of this 4mm pearl, so we've got to go through that super duo, the top hole. That's either, you can either go down through the bottom and work your way around, or you can tie a half hitch knot. What I'm going to do is tie a half hitch knot and then turn around and go back through that top hole of that super duo. I really probably need a smaller beading needle to get through these 2mm. One more time. We'll see. Yep, I should have. I'm going to pop one in there. They're not very strong. These pearls are just not very. Oops. Let's put the 2mm pearl in there. If yours didn't break, don't worry about it. See, and there's where we want to be coming out, because then we're going to pick up 2 or 3. I'm just going to go with 2 11-ohs. And then our ear wire. And then 2 11-ohs. And come back through that pearl. That 4mm pearl. And then I'm going to pick up 1 11-oh and come up through the next 2 11-ohs. Then come through the loop of the ear wire down through those 2 11-ohs. Pull it down tight and pick up 1 more 11-oh and go back through that 4mm pearl. And there we go. And we can go back up through and reinforce one more time. Okay, and then go down through the 2mm and I'm running out of thread here, the 2mm and the super duo, tie a half hitch knot, go through the purl, tie half hitch knot, go through the super duo, and a couple times, and then sew in your tail thread. And there's our the snowflower earrings. Alright, everybody. Thanks for watching. Keep your eyes open for more tutorials. Have a great day.